Yeah, Roland, I agree with you. And, for these people out there that were Trump supporters and now they're not Trump supporters, but they say, well, I'm not going to vote for a Democrat, so I'm just...
They got a Shapiro on there. Man, y'all see what time they on. This is crazy. Family, they talking about our business. They are speaking on our business. Peckerwood talking down on us.
Might have to drop a dime on this.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta stop it.
I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
They're forcing, they just want you to vote now. Listen to this.
Thing that I ask is require anyone of age who lives in your house to be registered to vote. If they're gonna live up in your house and they are not registered, they don't need to be living up in your house. If you're not registered, you can't sleep here. Let's get ready for November, not in November. Let's get ready for November right now.
The sentiment that
his alpha brother, he just did a full political speech in church. Come on, man. We like this. His alpha brother just did a full political speech on getting people to vote. This is real business. They getting real money for pushing this narrative. Check this out. Check out what he
brother
said.
was speaking about that Reverend Otis Moss laid out and critiqued is one that I often hear. And what really gets on my nerves, Robert, is when I listen to these black folks.
I said, kick your kids out if you don't vote. You feel me? You notice that they are always reading the script. They always reading the script. Facts on that. That's how you know it ain't coming from the ancestors.
And a significant number are black men who yell tangibles, tangibles, tangibles. But then when you begin to say, okay, I want you to define that agenda.
Right.
They only seem to say reparations. And when you ask, well, how are you going to get the votes? Then they really can't go from there. And I challenge them all the time on this idea that, so if you don't get something before the election, then you're not going to vote when the person you're asking of it can't actually give it to you unless there is a vote by the body, whether that is the city council, the school board, the county commissioners, the state legislature, or Congress. And the problem that we have now with all of these people with cheap microphones is that they can yell, holler, and scream on social media, on podcasts, say a whole lot, but say nothing at the very same time. So here was this this interesting tweet. This is by someone who follows me. I'm not sure if this person is real, Rebecca. This guy tweeted.
No, they're definitely real. He's getting a lot of messages. He's finna go over now what people are saying to him. And they got to respond to this because this is a lot of backlash to the Democrat Party that they've ever had to face.
President Biden warned in 2020 no tangibles that he actually promised signed in law. Not an effing thing. Maybe the Democratic Party should have come with some tangibles. See, again, Rebecca, when they throw out tangibles, it's only one thing they're talking about. That's it. That's all they're talking about. Like this person here. So he posted, the Democrats are not ready to put reparations now on the table after we have been voting for them faithful for over 60 plus years with no tangibles. I think it's time to let them go. Oh, okay. But how are you gonna get it passed? And whenever I put that out, it's amazing how people can actually go to the next step. But thinking, well, let me just make the statement. And so the issue also is that when you do say, remember there was someone who's in chat yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't come with that general stuff. No, this person said, I'm asking for something that is only for Black people and nobody else. And then, of course, you got to explain to them how politics actually works. Rebecca, your thoughts?
Now they saying it can't be for Black people. When we literally see bills that came in for just strictly for people, it's like they not proving their points at all. But listen to this lady.
You know what, Roland? Dr. Carr once said on the show that you cannot use the tools of white supremacy to gain Black liberation. And the reason why I mentioned that is people have to understand, where did this whole thing about
Now she's saying that now they saying that we can't use the tools of white supremacy to gain Black liberation. Yeah, like the Koreans. It's crazy. Listen to how they trying to flip the whole script. How can they pay people to say this stuff online to Black people?
Intangibles come from? Was it a psyop that people got hooked into? Look, Black people since the beginning of
now they are literally saying, because we asking for tangibles and reparations, they saying, where did this come? Some type of psyop. This is a Democrat person. They feel like because we're asking for we need to be so stuck on the Democrat plantation that if we asking for tangibles, it's something going on. This is a psyop. They basically saying vote because your great grandparents did. But this is diabolical, y'all. Like how they the stuff they saying right
this
now.
Country and before this country even convened and have demanded rights in North America on this land. And so the idea that there are things that we're asking for our humanity, and we're no longer asking for our humanity, we're demanding our humanity. We're also asking for reparations, yes. However, there is a whole plethora of policy. Reparations is more than just getting a check. Reparations is also having reparations through the tax code policy. Is also making sure having access to education and housing, the ability to pass on generation from generation wealth without it being stolen through the color of law. Reparations is more than just receiving direct money. It does include receiving direct money. I want to make that clear. But one thing I would ask is, if we're talking about tangibles, why are we just focusing on one party? Why are we just asking the Democratic Party? Why aren't we asking every major American party to deliver on this particular issue? After all, this is a systemic issue. The need for reparations is because of systemic failure and exploitation, sex trafficking and human trafficking through the lens of the transatlantic slave trade. So if we're going to talk about this thing, then we need to talk about this thing. But just saying, oh, tangibles is starting to sound like a psyop. We understand that there is Black consciousness, and we understand that there is Black literature. And
bro, it be the goofiest people talking about psyops, bro. The goofiest agent. If you hear anybody talking like that, like that's the stupidest point they can make. They're not making it on nothing else. How about it's a psyop on them politicians? That's the psyop. That's who pushing the psyop. Don't believe your lying eyes. Because Black Americans have voted for them for over 60 years and have received nothing. And they know not to bring up that Crown Act. They know not to even talk about that Crown Act because it's a slap in the face. They don't even say nothing about that because they know we're going to be like, what? But, man, Roland paying these people amazing.
And research on this particular issue. But what we're seeing online, sometimes it is bots. Sometimes it's people who are well-intentioned, but we have to understand that if we are going to demand this, it doesn't make sense that we will only demand it from one party when there's two major parties in this country.
This back and forth, Brian, is to me the reason I think it's nonsensical. It's because if you don't vote, then you're guaranteed to get nothing. Like so you're like, okay, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to say anything until you give me what I want. But I can't even attempt to give you what you want if I don't get elected.
You've been elected for 60 damn years. We ain't doing that no more. Y'all cut the check all the money they've been making. Stop making your money. How about you do that and put the down payment in our hand? Because y'all getting big money. All of them Democrat politicians makes millions. So y'all can't sit here and tell me that we need to be acting crazy. We need to act the same way about our money, because I know y'all get y'all money when them people got to pay y'all for doing this service. Check it out.
And then there's a primary process. So if you want somebody to deliver you something, then maybe you support that person in the primary. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. You're not voting. So therefore, you can't even get the candidate you want to win the primary to run in the general. It's all idiotic.
Yeah, Roland, I agree with you. And, for these people out there that were Trump supporters and now they're not Trump supporters, but they say, well, I'm not going to vote for a Democrat, so I'm just.
No, they got a Shapiro on it. They got a Shapiro on there. Man, y'all see what time they on. Y'all see what time they on. Y'all see what kind of time they on. This is crazy. This is crazy, fam. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up, fam. Family, they talking about our business. They are speaking on our business with a whole nother Peckerwood in the room speaking on our, talking down on us. This is wild. He's pink. He's probably furious. Like these guys, these FBA guys they're killing you. Oh.
I'll pay for your coffee for 1 week if you can prove you know your finances.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, how many subscriptions?
Hey, he like these points ain't cutting it, family. How they get Shapiro? Man, this is crazy, y'all. I can't believe this. We only 13% of the population right now, so how can we make a difference with vote being 13%? Where's me? Where's me gold shilling ninja? Hey, he running it behind the scenes. He's running the whole thing behind the scenes, man. Look at him, y'all. He needs to get on his side and roll the hell out here. I can't believe it. You can't make this stuff up, man. But his face and hair the same color. This is crazy. Salute, first class. Yeah, man, this is just weird. I mean, I don't understand them. We more than 13%. Salute, y'all. I'm gonna let him go, man. I'm gonna let him go. Let's hear what he got to say. His beard and his face the same color.
Going to sit it out. Yes, I'm sorry to name call, but they are. If you want to talk about tangibles, let's talk about the $175 billion that Trump and his administration stole from the American people with tariffs. That doesn't just affect African Americans, it affects everybody. Let's talk about this war in Iran.
Why the heck do we got somebody talking in our business? Why they got somebody on their show, a Peckerwood, telling us about tangible? The disrespect, man. The disrespect. Y'all got a Peckerwood speaking on us? They literally got a Peckerwood talking to us about reparations when his people got their reparations. He's a Shapiro. His people got reparations from America. Woody the Woodpecker. If we are bots and agents, why are they so concerned and keep showing discussion on this matter? Because this matter is tearing their ass up. I lost it when she said, why y'all only asking Democrats? Right. They ain't in our face, wagging their finger every 4 seconds. Salute, Answell. You right, bro. But why they put a Peckerwood in our business and we have to have a Shapiro talking to us about reparations when his people got their reparations? This is weird, Roland. Roland, bro, you off cold for that already. Oh, then you know that's Matthew Methhead. This is wild. I can't believe
that's costing us $2 billion a day when he takes 20 million people off of Medicaid and food stamps. That's in this supposed big and beautiful bill. Oh, yeah, by the way, when Joe Biden left office, what was the unemployment rate for African Americans? What's the unemployment rate now? By the way, the entire country, everything's gone up. Inflation, the unemployment rate, private sector job growth has gone down. That affects everybody, especially minorities and people in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck. Those are the people that are struggling, that are paying $5 a gallon for gas in this country. But we're told, just be patriotic, spend $5 a gallon for gas. No. So I've had it with people at this point that say that, well, I'm not going to vote for this Democrat because they're not doing anything for me. I'm sorry to say this, but they're ill-informed and perhaps they're uneducated, because I can tell you right now, and I can go policy by policy, we don't have time for that. The Joe Biden administration, not perfect. The Barack Obama administration, not perfect. They were absolutely better for America, and they certainly were better for minorities than anything the orange man in office has done over the course of the last year and a half. And that's proven. That's not an opinion.
I'm just very clear. Robert, I'm willing to engage these folks, but I'm going to ask this very clearly. Okay, name 5 issues. Name them. Mm-hmm. Name them. See, I'm not going to sit here and allow the useless rhetoric to get stated. Even if somebody says, I want reparations, okay, show me your plan of action to get it. Show me your lobbying effort. Show me what you're actually doing. Show me how you're going to get to 218 in the House, how you're going to get to 60 in the Senate, how you're going to get a president to sign it. How do you see?
Yo, I think they tried to make this man seem like he may got some color in him, some melanin in him, fam. You put ice, baby. He got the Dodgers right, man. Roly poly, man. You need to wear that. You need to wear that flag, man, from that country, Roly.
Again, I don't care what the issue is. If the issue is reparations, if the issue is universal health care, the issue is anything, you actually have to do some work to get the elected officials to actually pass it. That means that you're involved in the electoral process. And this idea that I'm just going to sit out, or the silly thing, well, they're just two, I'm not going to choose between the lesser of two evils. Well, I'm just letting you know, one of them is going to win. And one of them will be voting on a series of issues that impact your life. So you might want to recognize that reality.
Did you know that you can form a Florida LLC for $0 plus state fees? It's easy using Zen Business. Click on Start an LLC, answer some questions, and you'll be done in less than 10 minutes. They'll make sure you file everything correctly and save all your paperwork for you. You can even talk to a real person if you need help. There's a reason over 850,000 businesses have chosen them. So don't let something like an LLC hold you back. Get it formed today by clicking the link below.
Kids grow so fast. What do you do with all the clothes that don't fit anymore?
One simple word, Vinted. This won't fit in 2 months, so I'll just list it on Vinted. It's easy to use. There are no selling fees, so I'll get to keep 100% of what I sell.
Wait, so you're telling me you managed to sell all the baby clothes you've listed on there?
Yep, and it's been super stress-free too. And the money, it goes right to the next size up, and it keeps parenting pretty affordable. Yeah, that's my hack.
Thank you so much for sharing.
For the first time in modern history, college student.
And look, this lesser two evils argument is silly. We are in a two-party system. If you do not like the party, then you have to reform the party. Remember, the way that the MAGA movement arose was you had the old school Republican Party. You had the Ronald Reagan, John McCain, Mitt Romney version of the Republican Party. And after Barack Obama beat them, you had the rise of the Tea Party, because they were far more radical and extreme than that old version of the Republican Party. And they felt that they needed to change and take over the party. 2012, 2010, 2012, they were the crazy, wild people. By 2014, they started winning office. By 2016, they were in the White House. And now here we are 10 years after that. Then the MAGA movement is now a more extreme version of that Tea Party. And that is the entirety of the Republican Party. So if you're saying that the Democratic Party isn't doing enough for you, then follow that blueprint and take over the damn party. Look, elections are a multi-billion-dollar industry. If anybody who's worked in elections and campaigns understands that it is a science at this point in time, that these races are calculated down to the block, sometimes to the.
So they going at it with us because we want tangibles, and they saying that this is just a stupid strategy. You know, we can pass a Crown Act so you can work in these racist institutions, but we can't pass no reparations. That's crazy. Ain't nobody gonna vote. Ain't nobody gonna sign off on that.
The household honor block, that you count your votes before you even get there. Then it's all about turning out those votes. And then once those people get elected, it's about making sure that you can whip those votes and get the legislation passed. The lobbying industry spends tens of billions of dollars a year on the state, local, and federal level to get the legislation they want passed. And you were talking about the litigation in the court system. Billions of dollars goes into litigating cases all the way to the Supreme Court to ensure that you can get the outcome that you want, and then to make sure that you can get the people in the Supreme Court that you want to be there. Heritage Foundation, all these other groups have been working for decades to get something like Project 2025 written, put into place, and then to build a political apparatus around it to actually get it implemented and to create the legal environment, the court system that can actually make it be sustainable. So this idea that we're just going to say, I want reparations, and somebody's going to like show up with a check and a Cadillac, I mean, you got to put the work in. If you want it to happen, that means you're going to have to fundraise hundreds of millions of dollars. You're going to have to build a nationwide apparatus around it so you can get people elected on the state, local, federal level. Then once those people are elected.
See, they saying we're going to have to need hundreds of millions of dollars. That's the money they getting. Them hundreds of millions of dollars, that's the money they're receiving. You feel me? Immigrants didn't need any of this. Yeah, they ain't need none of this. All this that he talking about, the Asian crime hate bill, they didn't need none of this.
You're going to have to write legislation. You're going to have to whip those votes. You're going to make campaign contributions. It is work to be done. So simply saying, well, they didn't give us reparations because because they don't care about us. No, politics answer the question. First day of political science class, they tell you politics answer the question of who gets what when. And then we get a graduate degree, where and how. So when you're talking about who gets what when, you're talking about the distribution of finite resources within the society. So just as you want resources for your community, the defense industrial complex wants it. The Israeli lobby wants it. The feminist groups want it. The environmentalist groups want it. Every group wants their piece of the pie. And if you're not getting what you want, that doesn't mean you check out. That means you double down and you outwork everybody else to get it done. And until you're willing to do that, then this is just nascent online chatter until you're willing to make it happen.
Yeah, y'all. So check. What we can do is build our own shit here at home, for real. I think we're doing a great job, man. They just talking nonsense. Putting this pressure on them. Roland Martin been talking about these reparations for 4 days. It's doing a great job. So I feel like it's doing something. They even brought a Peckerwood on the show to speak. Somebody that they putting in our business. Probably somebody, one of their little sponsors. This is lovely, though. They exposing themselves. Facts. Only 2% in the country is more punks than them. I'm on. I don't want right. I'm old. Right. That's what I'm saying. They basically trying to tell us to vote. We still ain't gonna be able to get you nothing. But, you need to vote. So I guess we haven't worked enough.
We talk about tangible things for the African-American community. If you don't think that Biden delivered you tangibles, if you don't think Obama delivered you tangibles, if you don't think Clinton delivered you tangibles, then what the hell is Donald Trump overturning? What are all these executive orders getting rid of? And we haven't had any tangible things. Why are there now between 300 and 500,000 African-American women who are either unemployed or left the workforce as a direct result of what President Trump did? Why are we seeing college admissions for African-Americans, particularly in Ivy League schools, plummet as a result of the Supreme Court decision of taking away diversity, equity, and inclusion programs? Why are we seeing military leadership being purged of all Black leadership? We went from Lloyd Austin being the defense secretary to the weekend host at Fox and Friends, and they called that merit-based. So if you don't think these people are delivering for you, if you don't think you're getting anything out of it, then what the hell were all those executive orders that Donald Trump signed to get rid of those things? What was Doge cutting if there was nothing to be cut? And why are we seeing African-American unemployment tick up at a rate double what the overall unemployment rates are doing? Why are we seeing our communities being divested in, particularly educationally, as the Department of Education has decided they're going to shut down because the lady from wrestling is in charge of the Department of Education?
Levon, what's good? What's good? Y'all hear this nonsense that they trying to push on us? Because Sandra said these people can kiss her entire. They had the presidency, the House, the Senate, and they still did nothing. They still did nothing. Like, they want to act like they so smart when they don't got nothing on the scoreboard. They haven't did anything. We looked at the bills that y'all passed for us, and it's nothing.
Why are we seeing fewer and fewer African Americans in air traffic controller positions? Because they put the guy from Real World versus Road Rules Challenge that was charged at the FAA, and the first thing they did was get rid of the Black employees. So if you don't think tangibles are being delivered, then you may be not reading deep enough in to see what those tangibles are. And I do think there's a responsibility on the side of the Democrats to learn from what President Trump is doing and has done. He hired a bunch of TV personalities and actors.
So they got Black people coming on stage with Roland, talking about we did get tangibles with Biden. He started with reparations. Now he's just throwing anything to the wall. Listen to the other lady. Listen to what this lady say, bro. We only got 15 of this, y'all.
So that no matter what he does, he can send them out to every cable news show, send them out to every podcast, send them out to every corner of social media to yell about and crow about everything that that they have achieved or done and put their own messaging out there. Democrats should have been doing that exact same thing with the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department under Joe Biden, the work that was being done there. When you look at student loan reform and how that has affected the African-American community. Look, Joe Biden will eternally be, and for the rest of my life, the best president in American history because he got rid of my law school student loans. And if that's not a tangible for people, I don't know what that tangible would be. So when we start talking about these things, one, the party has to do a better job of articulating to people exactly what they have done. But two, we have to stop taking our information from the back of a Cracker Jack box. You have to dive in there, dig deep, find out what the policies are, and look how they've actually been implemented to benefit you. Because we're seeing that taking place on the right now, as many of the Megyn Kellys and Tucker Carlsons and Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones are saying that Donald Trump is not delivering on the tangibles for him, and they're holding his feet to the fire on it. We can hold feet to the fire, but nobody on their side is saying we're going to sit home, we're not going to vote. They're trying to change the actions of the people in office, not simply say we're going to let someone else decide our future.
A community must have three things to have a community in it. You must have a wholly independent economic structure that can provide goods, service, products, and things for your own people, and jobs and tax bases for your own people. You should at least control four basic things. You should be trying to control water, food, medicine, and energy to be able to survive and compete.
Here we got Mr. Pollock. He had a cornfield. He took advantage of a free water test from us, and this is what we found in this water. We found sulfur, we found hardness, and we solved these problems with an easy fix of 2 tanks. So get your free water test today. Stay blessed. Click the link below.